Hey everyone, it's Cindy. I'm here today working on these Curiosa books. I am kind of in sped up mode today just because I did a lot of work in this session, and I was also hanging out in the studio with my children, so things were way too loud to film live. Well, I'm filming live, but I'm just not talking live. So I'm just going through and making ephemera for these books, and I work on these one signature at a time. So I found these really fun kind of risen up stickers of these balloons. So I'm adding it to this piece here, and I found this really great 1950s book that had these old word snippets in it. It was kind of a nature and education book, and they're really nice, like patinaed pages. So I got a lot of nice word snippets out of them. So this one is Forest Kings that I forget already. Oh my goodness. And of course I'm there we go. Withstand the ages. Forest Kings that withstand the ages. And so this is a little tuck spot from a mushroom image from one of my my magic mycology kit on Etsy. And so I made a freeform kind of tuck spot with that. And now I'm just looking for ephemera to add into these pockets. You can probably see a few things that if you've been following me religiously on this series you haven't seen yet. It's because I'm working on them quite a bit in my spare time, just kind of when I'm doing other things. And so I now want to put together a little kind of cabinet card with one of these really beautiful images that I have of these sort of Victorian like ish women, and that they were kind of dark and interesting. And I pulled that one out of a book, and I'm trying to remember what book it was, but I can't. But that's okay. Anyways, I love this background. This is from Miles Beyond the Moon, and I'm down to the bitter end of my glue stick here, so I'm coming in with my glitter glue for the edges because I don't want my edges to rise up. So then I'm just going to back this. I'm digging through my stash here for a folder, and I'm just going to back it on there, a doubled up folder, so it'll have some nice weight to it. And then you see that little tag, it says miscellaneous. I was like, I want to use that on this piece. So these are actually old file folders from my job, my office cleanup. So I'm going to just put it in between the two sides, and then we'll just kind of glue stick, well, smoosh, because I need to go get a new glue stick. Put this all together so that we have a double thick, nice kind of card weight to this piece. And then I'm pulling out a piece from this old book because I want to actually have the visible backing on this to be like a vintage book page. So it's nice and kind of feels a little older. And again, we're smushing glue here. I find some days I get really like, I want to use the last little bit of these glue sticks, so I get down to the nitty gritty and do this, but I hate getting my hands all sticky, so I don't always do it. But there's so much glue left over in glue sticks that you feel like I want to get it out. And I even tried this like little spatula technique where I would pull it out with a spatula and add it into a new glue stick, but there's something weird, like it doesn't solidify again. I don't know if it's because it's come into contact with my finger, that like it's introduced something to it that it just doesn't want to re-solidify. It's very weird. Anyhow, so now this piece is nice and put together, and I'm just going to ink around it because that just kind of brings the whole feel of like some age to the cabinet card. And I'm really happy I got that miscellaneous tag in there. It's very cute. So I stitched around it, and I'm just going to add it into my pocket here. And see that little image on the back? That's actually from the antiquarian sticker book. So when I first got that book, I was like, oh wow, I really love these pages. They're really quite lovely, and you know, I'm going to use them for something, but I haven't used a single one for anything, and I'm like, I'm going to put one in here. They're very nice, and I think they fit the theme well. So now we're moving on to the next book. I'm working one signature at a time and going through the whole series of books. It just kind of makes sure that whatever materials that I have on hand, I'm mixing them up between the books, because I don't want to have like everything be the same in any of these books. I want these to all be very unique journals. There's maybe one or two elements, I think one element actually, that is the same across all of the books, and that's a little paper Curiosa cabinet that has like little shelves inside. And even then, inside the shelves, I've put different things, so it's again going to be different. So I'm just making a pocket with some of this beautiful marbled paper that I got from, actually this is alcohol ink paper. Yeah, this is not the marbled. It is alcohol ink. And I'm just going to add like this little snippet of like, I think it's sort of fortune-telling oracle kind of paper, and make a pocket with that at the bottom of this fun butterfly and caterpillar and moth kind of page. I guess they're moth. They're all moths and caterpillars. Just kind of sorting out some materials here. Sorry, I'm a little off camera. You'll see it come together here though. There, it's just a little tiny gold label that I pulled from my my snippet bin, just because I like how those little labels look in collage. They're quite cute with their little white string that dangles. So I'm just going to glue this pocket down to the bottom of that page. And I have a tag I made a little earlier. I'm just adding to the pocket there. And then I had been reading this book page that's kind of interesting. It's about retribution, and had a neat little kind of verse on it. So I'm just going to glue it together and make a piece of ephemera with it. And I have this girl from Miles Beyond the Moon. I've really been enjoying playing with my odds and ends that I've already printed for another project. I printed some extra pages, and I've been enjoying adding them to this book. So I'm just gluing that word snippet from the book to the image and making a pocket, like a nice freeform shaped kind of pocket. I like layering up things like this, like a photograph or a digital image or a book image, and then a bit of writing or, you know, other scraps and things, and just making more freeform shaped pockets. So I'm just reviewing what's left to do in this signature. And grabbing, this is a coffee dyed page, you'll see it in a moment here, that I printed. It is of like a bunch of book plates, and they're really beautiful. And I think I got them from Nick the Booksmith on her Etsy shop, and it's her book plates collection. And so I'm just trimming it down, and it's a nice little like foldable folio that has two bordered book plate type images on it, but it's lots of writing space. And so I'm thinking it would be really fun. Just need to open up my pocket a little bit more. Just going in there with my ruler so that that fits nicely. I don't like a tight, crammy kind of pocket. Put everything back together here. And then I'm just going to fold this little scrap from that alcohol ink paper, and I'm going to ink up the back, and I want to glue it down to cover that timberjack label that's on that vellum graph paper. It's really cool paper, but I feel like the modernness of that name on that label kind of, it just, I don't like it. And then I'm going to pull this out, and I'm just going to take the chapter title and use it because it's a lovely old, you know, vintage book. It's a probably like a late 1800s book. So just a little chapter label there, and it just adds a nice kind of more vintage feel. Then a bit of ink. And we carry on through the signature, and now I'm taking a look at the words that had to be trimmed on the side of these specimen pages. And I've covered these up in different ways throughout the journal. If they're left whole and you can actually kind of read the information on some pages, I leave them alone. But I'm doing all different things to kind of cover them up throughout the different books. In this case, I want to create this kind of a midway through little pocket that wraps around. And these are some images that I've created as part of something. I'm not sure if it was a Patreon kit or some of my doodles from my my work, but I'm putting these little journal cards inside on each side. They're just like a little something to play with. And in my next video, I'll try to pull out a little more. I'm sorry, I'm doing a few things off camera because I'm not pulled out far enough. I was probably showing something in detail, but I mean, you do see it there. It's a little journal card. Just opening my pocket here with my ruler so I can fit these in and make sure the glue is all dry. Okay. And I stuck some words on there. It says "The Girl Wanted," and it's from this old book. That folio has come together quite nicely. I'm just looking at this little cutout of a bottle that I did. I'm going to make a tuck spot with it right on this moth page, and I'm going to add this fun little curio cabinet tag, and that folio has come together. So it looks like we've finished another one for this book, and we will move on to the next book. So I'm just flipping around to grab the next book behind me, and there it is. This one I need to do a lot of work in because I can tell by the fact that the signatures, the spine is at the front. I haven't really done a lot of work on it yet because I'm using the spine as kind of a bookmark. You see me shoving it back into the middle of the book there. So we start with this fun life insurance envelope. It's a really cool, like 1970s, big long envelope. And then I sort of have this old cabinet card, and it's on this kind of weird material. I forget. I think it's called like filament cardboard or something. So don't freak out. I don't cut myself or anything. I am being kind of careful, but I know it looks a little bit like I'm not. I'm going very slowly. This video is sped up. I'm being very careful not to take any like direct, movements that where my knife could slip. I know it looks a little scary sometimes. So I'm trying to kind of peel it because this particular kind of cabinet card, I find them from time to time. It's like you can't separate the layers of paper. It's almost like wood veneer. It's very strange. I looked at it before and I seem to recall it was called like filament paper or something. I don't know. But yeah, so the knife is kind of cutting through the front and I'm thinking, that's okay. That could be kind of cool if I, glue it back down. Maybe I'll shove like a words in there or some like dark colored flowers or something weird, to make it look interesting. So I'm just kind of trimming away, trying to hack this thing to thin it out because this is a case where like you have a cabinet card, you don't want it to be really super thick in your book if you already have like chunky signatures or you're about to because you have lots of signatures in your book and you don't want to make the book too much of a gator mouth. So I'm trying to kind of shave layers off the back of the paper to just make it a little thinner. And then what I would do once I had the whole mess sorted out is I would back it with some coffee stained paper and then probably stitch around it and press it nicely to have it like be a neat card again. But the challenge is like it's easy to get the paper off the edges because you have somewhere to slide your knife. But then if it doesn't go all the way to the middle, then you're still stuck with this fat center. And like I was just really struggling to try to get the paper to go, further in. And then I'm sort of wiggling the knife and trying to play with it, and I finally just think like, okay, this is not going to work. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to do some nicks, but the paper just doesn't peel, and I feel like at this point I should just be like peeling potatoes because we're not getting anywhere here. So now I'm just kind of like looking for my scraper, which is currently lost. I have to find it. My pink scraping tool that I clean my desk with. I don't know where I've put it, so I'm throwing all my stuff from my basket onto my desk here. And then I'm like, maybe I could use a plastic card. And the cabinet card like audibly laughs at me at this point because it's like, you are not going to peel me with this plastic card. Are you kidding me? I'm like from the 1800s. And then the corner broke off, and then I was like, okay, this is getting a little out of control. So I'm like, I'm just going to pull the picture off, and we've just spent all this time, you know, dramatically going through this process. But like, this is junk journaling. This is like, you know, these are maybe the moments where I'm like, this is why I'm not showing you what I'm doing. Having a moment. But yeah, I also like to share them because like you have to get creative. So I do have this really beautiful floral cabinet card from Miles Beyond the Moon again, and I love how the image of this couple sits there on it. It's just very pretty. It actually really improves the feel and the look of everything. So now we will glue this down again to something. It's actually a cereal box, and I want that same like controlled thickness. You know, I didn't want it to be like a plank of wood in my journal. I want it to be like a nice card, you know, thickness of a cabinet card. So this works a lot better. I just have to like sort out trimming it down here, and then it's going to be a lot easier to work with. So maybe next time I should just not spend so much time tediously trying to pull something apart and just go on. But yeah, the ink really pulls it together. It makes the whole thing feel finished, and I like that. So now I'm just giving it a little press, making sure everything's flat, doing a little more inking around the image, and that's a lot cuter. And so I'm going to slide it in there sideways, because you see that fun rounded section there in the envelope? It's very cute. So yeah, I like it there, and I'm going to leave the rest of the envelope alone because I love those old envelopes. And then I'll just throw a little label on the side. Sorry, I'm out of camera. It's a little red label, red trimmed label. And then I'm debating what I want to put on this page because I want a little pocket here, I think. And then I find a scan card. This is from an old board game. So I'm just going to trim it a little bit, and then we'll add it as a nice little pocket on this beautiful seashell page. I love the creepy kind of eyes on these cards. They're very fun. And then a cabinet card, or what's the word I'm looking for? Cabinet of Curiosity type tag that I've stitched some fabric to. I'm just watching myself knocking over all of my things, my glue and all. All these things with handles get in the way of me like moving around. So this is some beautiful paper that is marbled. It's from thepapertrail.ca. They are lovely, relatively local paper makers, and I really love their paper. And then this little bat image, I'm just going to add it to give like a freeform feel and a little bit of a focal point on that pocket. And then I'm just trying to find a nice word snippet from my box here. I've been trying to refill it lately, cutting out word snippets in my spare time. When the moon has risen high in the sky. So we'll just add those. Word snippets often just make something feel like more finished. Kind of takes ephemera to like make it your own, and a bit of inking. Okay. I like how that looks with the eco-printed carbonized paper next to it with those lovely Japanese maple leaves. So pretty. Then I'm just adding a seagull, yeah, gulls, a little card in there. And then we move over to, this is a picture from an old textbook. So I want to use both of these pieces in two different pieces. So I'm just going to glue it down to this yellow folder. just an old textbook. I was so happy because I actually emptied out this textbook while I was working. I pulled all the pages that I'm going to use and got rid of the rest. It has a beautiful cover that I've kept, though, because I'll be turning it into a journal someday. So I'm going to cut out this spine here and use it later as a belly band, because it's just a great shape for that. And then we will cut out the skull and use it because it will make a really cool tuck spot. I love the patina on this paper. It's so nice. Go back to the folio and figure out where to put it. Right there on all these little beetles. Then I'm thinking, what do I put in here? So I've added a laminated maple leaf, but then I decided it looks better up there. Lots of fussing and refussing with this project. This is not untypical of my my private time. Then I have this fantasy kind of book image, and I just want to use this strange little child and this little green bat-like kind of creature somewhere in the book, but it just ends up getting torn out and hanging out. I haven't used it yet. It's still hanging around. Then I move on to, this is from Miles Beyond the Moon, from the Crow Kit. I don't remember the actual name, but it's crow related, and they're on Etsy, Miles Beyond the Moon. And so I want to make kind of a tattered document with this. So I just start by trimming it down to size, and then we're going to squish it up, scrunch it up, and unscrunch it. Changes the whole feeling of the paper, the texture, everything. And then we're just inking with a bit of black soot. Just what's left over in my dauber. Do the same with the front using vintage photo ink. Then I'm just going to go around the edges a little more heavily, because typically, patina, it settles into the edges of paper, and we'll just reinforce the folds a little bit, and the crease in the center as well. And then stick that somewhere in the book into that little skeleton, maybe. Yeah. Then we have another page that I want to put something on. So I found a little vellum pocket. It says silk cloth. This is sort of another one of the, curiosity cabinet drawers that I've been putting in these books. Then I've got this image of these strange kids and an Easter bunny. And then I'm just going to glue a little bit of this yellow coffee stain graph paper underneath to cover the words that are peeking out, and add my pocket in there. And a little label. Sorry, we're down in that lower corner. I will readjust the camera so that it's pulled out a little bit more again. And then a little number just finishes up that pocket, makes it more interesting. And I have this paper that has like a bit of a brick wall on it. I'm thinking about what to do with it. I'm just pulling from my scraps of things that I pulled from my big Tuesday 10 bucket. And I'm going to use this image from my mycology kit and then a little eye set from It Capilli Imaginarium. And I'm going to just cut those eyes out and add them onto my image just to make this a little more strange and curious. And then I'm going to trim it down because I need it to be a little thinner to fit into the pocket. Bit of ink. And a word snippet. And it's another one of those fun 1950s textbook. Silent Creatures of Wood and Field, I think. Silent Inhabitants of Wood and Field. So she's like a mysterious, quiet little mushroom nymph type. That's the legend anyhow. Just doing a bit of backing. I have such a quiet house today because everybody is out at like school and doing stuff. So it's just me and the sleeping dogs, which is a rarity. Usually there's someone else in the house but me. The only downside is there's no one here to make me lunch, and I have to do that myself today. So then I've got my little toad friends here. These are from my toads on in my Etsy shop. I have a collection of watercolor toads. And then I'm going to make another little pocket with that brick paper. I need a word snippet to put on the front of that pocket. So I'm going into this old Mother Goose book I've been using to create like the labels for the little Curiosa drawers. It's actually proved to be a pretty good book for finding interesting things to put on these drawers. Hyssop and Rue. Another little toad to go in that pocket. I love this photography page. I don't know if you see the little boy. He's like having his nose pushed up by an adult standing behind him. It's like a funny picture. I'm making another little pocket. This one, I've got this bit of scrap 49 in market paper that has numbers on it. So I'm just going to add the numbers to that one. Looking for other materials to make another little cabinet pocket. And I've got this old folder. Just got to glue it up and seal down that fun. I like the inside of these tabbed folders. They had like really neat markings that held on to that piece of metal for the hanging folder. And then again, I'll just add some of the 49 in market numbers on this one. And then just a little Stemperia label there that's like a drawer front. Thinking about what to put in these pockets. So I've got some strange little people and things. Little journal cards. Just need to open up the pockets. And I've got those seed pods. Those are actually from a vintage book about different plants. And then we have the other side of this insurance envelope to deal with. So I'm just cutting the top off of it so I can use it as a pocket so that the top can have something protruding out of it. Whereas we use the other side as like kind of a flat pocket. And then I'm going to put this big envelope that has been eco-printed. I'm going to put that inside the pocket as like a large journal card. And then I changed my mind. I'm going to clip it on the paper. I forgot. Yeah, it was too tall. So now I'm hunting in my finished stash here of things for a finished thing, and I found one. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me for this little ephemera making video. I will continue with these books. Bye.